In the latest edition of veterinarians having to justify their own existence. A tradition unlike any other. Last week, the New York Times posted a survey asking pet owners to detail their experiences being quote-unquote stuck with veterinary bills. This caused quite a stir amongst veterinarians on social media, and yes, veterinary social media is a thing, for better or for worse. I find this survey concerning for numerous reasons, so in this video, I'm going to go through some of my thoughts and concerns regarding the survey, its inherent flaws, and the underlying sentiment with veterinary costs in general these days. Before I do that, please hit the like and subscribe button if you don't mind, help grow the video and the channel. And let's begin. All right, so the first thing that concerns me about this survey is its inherent sampling bias. In case you don't know, sampling bias is a type of bias in which a sample is collected in such a way that members of the intended population have a lower or higher sampling probability than others. In regards to this survey, I would argue that it's being framed in such a way that the respondents will skew disproportionately towards those who have had a negative experience with a vet. In other words, we're going to hear from the people who had a poor experience and not from the people that had a good experience. I think that most people who are going to respond to this type of survey are those who are suffering a financial hardship due to a humongous vet bill, i.e. they're stuck. This is who the New York Times wants to hear from. And because of that, and because shock and negativity gets clicks and views in general, I'm willing to bet that the published results of this survey will only include the most extreme and egregious examples from pet owners, while at the same time failing to get the veterinarian side of the story here, which leads me to my next concern, which is the survey is seeking opinions and feelings from only one party, and that is the frustrated client. Veterinary transactions always involve three parties: the client, the vet, and the pet. Two of these parties can talk, although if you've worked with beagles with any regularity, you may think that they are actually trying to talk with how much they bark. Now, I've been a vet since 2009, and I've only worked in 24/7 ER and specialty centers pretty much my entire career. And this is where the most costly things in veterinary medicine take place, in case you're wondering. It is absolutely standard practice with every patient I see, and my colleagues as well, to go through the following steps with a pet owner before you run up a bill. The first step is simply to obtain a history from a client. The second step is to examine the animal, or in my case, perform a neurologic exam. Third step is to provide your thoughts and what you think might be going on. This is forming a differential diagnosis. The fourth step is offering up a diagnostic or treatment plan A, B, or sometimes even C or D to the pet owner. Or if you're an animal chiropractor, none of this matters because you do the same thing to every animal no matter what symptom they have. Step 5, you then make a cost estimate for each plan. Step 6, the pet owner then approves or denies moving forward with each of these plans. Now, let me provide an example to kind of illustrate this point. Let's say that I see a paralyzed French bulldog. Pretty common in my line of work. I talk to the owner, I get a history, I examine the dog, and I give my thoughts about what is happening. I then recommend an MRI and a potential for surgery right afterward because I think this dog probably has a herniated disc, or IBDH. The owner then approves the cost estimate, and I get to work MRIing and surgerying if need be. Yes, those are made up words. Hopefully things go as planned after surgery, and our little friend goes home day 2 post-op to then recover at home. If things don't go as planned, like say, I don't know, maybe our Frenchy friend suffers from a respiratory emergency or gets pneumonia secondary to its inherent malformation that is considered a breed standard, you may need supplemental oxygen, IV antibiotics, and a lot more time in intensive care in the hospital. These extra measures push the bill way over the initial $7,000 to $8,000 for an MRI and surgery, and this becomes quickly a $10,000 plus invoice. This is what practicing medicine in an all-cash, non-subsidized system looks like. You can't predict medical outcomes, folks. Ask any doctor, human or vet. Our system is an out-of-pocket expense. The practice of medicine is inherently unpredictable. Averages do not always apply to individuals, human or dog. And if there is an unforeseen medical complication in our system, that means more cost to you. It is the same in human medicine, but in human medicine, there's this thing called health insurance. You know, that thing you've been paying $500+ a month for the last 20 years or so? Yeah, it turns out that oftentimes this does kick in and keeps you from racking up a gigantic medical bill, at least in theory. I know, not every time, and I know there's issues with insurance and people get stuck, but you get my meaning. I need you to understand this if you're a pet owner watching this. We veterinarians cannot predict and plan for every singular complication a pet could possibly have that many times surprises both you and us. Animals can't talk to us and point to where something hurts like a person can. Animals are most of the time built to hide problems from us. In the wild, it does not help an animal to announce to everybody,
"Hey, my stomach hurts. I may have to stop migrating with you soon and stop walking."
probably pretty bad, right? This is why we have to sometimes run a few different tests to try and figure out a vague symptom like, say, polyphagia or eating too much. Now, another point of concern for me in relation to this survey is the fact that articles and surveys like this have been popping up more and more lately the last few years, because it's true, the cost of veterinary care has been going up. No denying that, but let's consider two key factors here regarding rising vet costs. The first thing I want to bring up is the fact that the economy in general has been undergoing pretty significant inflation the last couple of years. The Fed turned on the money printer in 2020 and 2021, and even as recent as today, April 16th, 2024, inflation is proving to be way stickier than we thought. In this aspect, I think the analogy of a rising tide raising all ships holds true financially. The second factor that I want to mention is that our capabilities in vet med have exploded as well. I'm a veterinary neurologist. I do MRIs and perform neurosurgery on dogs and cats. There used to be a saying amongst older veterinary neurologists where veterinary neurology was called localize and euthanize, because you couldn't do anything about the problems that you were seeing. There was no technology to address and diagnose these things. But today in 2024, we have things like CT and MRI technology pretty readily available for pets. This is very expensive technology to buy, operate, and maintain. And yes, the cost of performing these sorts of tests is huge. But you know what the result is? I can actually make dogs go from paralyzed to walking again through the use of these technologies. I can relieve their pain once I have a proper diagnosis and get them on correct treatment. I can improve their quality of life through these tools. And never mind all that, just look at what animal chiropractors can do. It is incredible. But in all seriousness, the take-home message here is that the cost of providing this level of care to a pet is huge. Just go into any 24/7 ER and specialty hospital and see how many people are employed at these places. Non-doctor payroll for these types of hospitals is in the multiple millions of dollars, and that doesn't even include supplies, maintaining the building, equipment, leasing costs. These costs all have to be covered, and you can't operate a business like this at a loss, because guess what? Then there will be no vet hospitals. Now, another concern I have is that the survey is looking to potentially do some doxing here. The survey asks for the name of the vet and lets you upload a copy of your bill from that vet. So my question is, what does the New York Times plan on doing with this information? Surely they're not going to try and surprise the veterinarian at work and shove a copy of an old invoice in their face and ask them to, on the spot, explain everything that happened. So in conclusion, I'm a little bit concerned in how this survey is going to be published and the negative sentiment towards veterinary medicine that it will cause. Now, to help with this issue, I would encourage you to please fill out the survey and maybe put in a positive experience that you've had with your vet. You can still fill out the amount that you paid in your bill or whatever, but maybe leave a note that says like, hey, like my dog or cat or whatever animal got better and I had a pretty good experience here. This wasn't anything negative per se, and everything was above board. I would encourage as many of you to do that as possible, to please try to dilute some of the negative experiences that I fear the New York Times is kind of fishing for here. All right, guys, that's it for this video today. Let me know in the comments below what you think of this. If you had any issues with veterinary billing and getting stuck with a bill, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.